These are 10 of the cheapest fragrances in my collection. I own a vast array of niche and luxury fragrances. Some are very expensive and you can pay a really high price for a luxury niche fragrance, but these are 10 fragrances that can all be had for around £35–40. Some of them are even a little bit cheaper. So starting off at number 1, this is Davidoff Cool Water, the original. This is still a great fragrance in my opinion. The only thing is, it's been around for so long. It's a fragrance that's really stood the test of time. It might remind other people of men they have known in the past because it's been around for so long and so many people have worn this in their lifetime. Davidoff Cool Water is very green and aromatic. It has a herbal quality. It's quite old school. It's very watery, aromatic, herbal, lots of lavender and watery notes. It's just a really great masculine fragrance to wear to any situation. You can spray this on any time of year, any event, and you know that you're going to smell really good. You just might smell very familiar to some people. Now moving on to another Cool Water fragrance. This is Cool Water Intense. This for me is the younger brother of the original Cool Water, and I actually prefer this one because this is a bit more youthful, it's fun, and actually has better performance. This is one of the strongest blue fragrances I've ever tried. It really projects, it fills a room. It does have a synthetic feel, but come on, what did you expect for around £25 for 100ml? You are not going to get a natural fragrance. They're going to be synthetic fragrances. This really projects, performs well, has a really nice mandarin note. Almost smells like a sporty shower gel. That's exactly what I get in my head when I smell this. Smells like one of those sporty shower gels that you might get in an Adidas gift set or something. But it's a very strong fragrance and it's great to wear to any casual setting. This one is a bit of hit and miss. This is Nautica Voyage. This one gets a lot of hype and it also gets a lot of hate as well. I think it's actually quite a nice fragrance for the money. It's very green, has like a cucumber smell. If you're ever making a salad and you cut up cucumber, you get that very fresh, bright, watery smell from the cucumber. That is how this smells. Has green notes, fruity notes. It's just a really easygoing summer fragrance. Doesn't last very long. This is for either the gym or for really hot summer days, but I think if you can find this for around £20, something like that, I think that's how much this is going for now. I still think it's a worthy fragrance in your collection because you can spray it 5, 10, 15 times, doesn't matter. It's so cheap, and in the summer you're going to smell really good. Now this next fragrance is one that does not get a lot of attention, but I really like this, and I've really enjoyed this since I first tried it. This is Matchpoint Cologne. I wasn't very impressed with the original Matchpoint and Matchpoint EDP, so when this came out I tried it and I was very surprised at how good this smelled. This has a cologne feeling, and what I mean by that is, you know those old school colognes that you can get, like the ones from the 90s and 80s, the masculine colognes that men used to wear. This has that kind of feeling to it. It's lots of aromatic notes with orange peel, and you have a rhubarb note, which is quite interesting. One thing I like about this is it goes in a different direction to a lot of fragrances that are being released. It's not trying to copy the same formula over and over again of successful releases. It's going in its own way, and it smells great. It's a summer fragrance, but also good for the gym, good for any casual setting. You could wear this to the office, and as far as I know, this costs around £40. This is the most expensive fragrance in this list, I believe. I think you can get it for around £40, but maybe if you check discounters, you can get it for even cheaper. This is rhubarb, orange, aromatics. It's fresh, vibrant, and smells like an old school cologne, but with a modern twist. Now, is this a popular fragrance? Lattafa Khamrah. This is one of those fragrances that has been hyped up by the TikTok bros doing fragrance reviews. This is a massively hyped up fragrance, considered to be a clone of Angel Share, which I think is quite obvious from the bottle that they were trying to copy Angel Share in that regard, but it doesn't smell much like Angel Share in my opinion. When I smell this, I don't get Angel Share. If you just sprayed this on a piece of paper and showed it to me, I would not really think of Angel Share. I don't think it goes in its own direction, but for the price, this smells really good. It's very warming, it's gourmand, it's spicy. It's more spicy than Angel Share, but Angel Share is so much better. You know, you can't really compare this to Angel Share. You can tell this is a much cheaper fragrance than Angel Share, which is. This is like £25, I think I paid for this. Angel Share is hundreds of pounds, so you can't compare them in quality, and in the smell there is not many similarities. But Lattafa Khamrah is actually a great fragrance in its own right, a wintry fragrance. So we've had the really fresh fragrances here. Now this is more of a wintry gourmand, a date night fragrance. So if you like similar fragrances to Angel Share, if you want a gourmand date night, ambery, spicy fragrance, and you want something sweet for the winter time, and you don't want to spend the money on angel share, which I understand it's really expensive, you could go for something like this, £25-30, and you're going to smell great all winter. Another clone fragrance, and this is a obvious clone. It smells similar to the fragrance it's supposed to be cloning. This is Afnan's 9 PM. I think this is a great representation of Jean Paul Gaultier Ultra Male. Smells very similar. You will not notice many differences between Ultra Male and this. I did a video before comparing this and Ultra Male. There are not that many differences. Really, you have to search for it. Ultra Male is a bit more bright, with the mint note being more prevalent. This one is a bit sweeter and heavier, and I think this has a higher concentration being an eau de parfum, whereas Ultra Male was eau de toilette, and this does feel a bit thicker and will perhaps last longer on your skin. This is youthful, playful, great for going out with your friends, having fun. It's not a serious fragrance. It just smells like Ultra Male. You can wear to most occasions, and it's a very good value for money. £25 I think this is. Afnan's 9 PM. Down to the last four. I have a lot of time for these four fragrances. This one is one of the first fragrances I bought in my collection, like, years ago. One of the first fragrances I purchased because it was so cheap. Encre Noire Sport. In my opinion, this is the best in the Encre Noire line. Encre Noire Original, Encre Noire Sport, and Encre Noire à la Extreme. This is the middleman. This is the best one. This is the most easiest to wear. This has the wet, dirty forest feel of Encre Noire, that really dark, emo-like feeling you get with Encre Noire. That has that vetiver, but this is bright. This has bergamot and juicy fruits in the opening, so this actually just makes it much more easy to wear. I wear this to the gym quite a lot, and as you're sweating, it projects quite nicely, but not too much to annoy people. But you just get this really nice sort of fruity, lemony vetiver smell. Just smells great for the gym. It's that sort of fragrance. It's a casual, sporty gym fragrance. It's a very good introduction to vetiver. Vetiver can be a very challenging fragrance note to wear. There are a lot of fragrances with vetiver in, especially masculine fragrances, old school masculine fragrances. It's quite challenging, but this is a really good entry level vetiver fragrance, so you can understand how that note smells and how it reacts with your skin chemistry. This is a must have, I think, in anyone's collection. You can get this for £25. What are you holding off on? It's brilliant. Made by a very good perfumer, Natalie Lawson, I believe, who also made another fragrance in this list. This is Encre Noire Sport. Moving on to a fragrance from Tommy Hilfiger. This is Tommy Hilfiger Impact Intense. This is a surprise at how good this smells. This has some similarities to fragrances like Parfums de Marly Layton. Of course, we're not going to get the same quality as a £230 fragrance. This is about £40, I think. This is a similar price to Match Point Cologne. They're the most expensive fragrances on this cheap fragrance list. This has a very realistic red apple note in the opening. It's really nice. It's red apple with cardamom spices. You've got vanilla, so it has a similar note breakdown as Layton, and you can certainly smell that fragrance DNA in here. This is a date night fragrance for me. This is really good if you like the warming, spicy fragrances like Layton, but you don't want to spend over £200. You can buy this for £40. Smells really good and has decent performance as well. One thing I love about this is the lid. It's like a James Bond style fragrance, so just looks like a normal fragrance bottle, right? Take the lid off, and what do we have in here? We have a secret compartment with a travel sample of the fragrance. I think that's a nice touch. I don't know if you're going on holiday or going away for a night, you could just take the lid with you, and you've got a travel size spray of Tommy Hilfiger Impact Intense. This is underrated and under talked about. This should be spoken about more. A great cheap fragrance for your collection. Spicy apple and rich vanilla. So the last two fragrances on this list. Let me know your favourite cheap fragrance that you've got in your collection. So the penultimate fragrance, Bentley for Men Intense. This is up the top of many reviewers' top 10 lists, and that's because it's a fantastic fragrance. I think the same perfumer who made the Encre Noire series also made Bentley for Men Intense. Now this is a masculine fragrance, but not in the same sense as Davidoff Cool Water and Encre Noire with vetiver. This is a leathery, boozy fragrance, really strong and quite difficult to pull off. You have to be a certain type of personality, I think, to wear this. Someone younger, someone quite shy. I don't think this is going to suit you very well. This is for someone who wants to wear a fragrance that will get noticed. It has that scent profile to it. It's very masculine leather with a ton ton of rum. This rum note mixed with the leather is absolutely superb. This smells, in my opinion, more expensive than it is. This really does fluctuate in price. I think the recommended retail price is like £70 or something, but I've never paid that. I normally pay about £30. So if you look on places like Notino, even look on the eBay shops, like the perfume shops on eBay, you should be able to find this for around £30 or so. This is a fragrance to get noticed when you want something to stand out, cold weather, going on a night out, dressing up a bit sharp. You wear Bentley for Men Intense and it will really give you that added piece of confidence. Now moving on to the last fragrance, this is a clone of Tuxedo. This is Rochas Mustache EDP. This is patchouli, vanilla and amber. They're the three most prominent notes I get in here. Now sometimes when you mix those notes together you can get like a boozy feeling, and that's kind of what you get with this and with Tuxedo. There are not that many differences between this and Tuxedo. This is a really good option for if you don't want to spend the over £200 or so on Tuxedo, which is also out of stock a lot of the time, and you can only buy it from certain websites. I think you can only buy it from Yves Saint Laurent and from Harrods. There are not many places that sell Tuxedo and it's often out of stock. Mustache is very similar. I would say it's 80% of the way there, and you can buy this for around £35 for 100ml. It's a great fragrance. For me, it works really well as a professional office fragrance, or if you want like another date night fragrance, this works wonderful. I love the mix of patchouli, vanilla and amber in here. It's warming, it smells expensive, it has that touch of classness because it smells a bit boozy as well. So these are 10 fragrances in my collection that are on the cheaper end, because we don't always have to spend so much. And when you watch fragrance reviewers like myself, and we're pushing £200 bottles of Parfums de Marly, Initio, Nishani, all of these expensive fragrances. You know, I love fragrances and I spend a lot of money on them, but you don't have to always do that. If your budget is only to spend £30-40 on a fragrance at a time, and you want something that's still going to be of high quality and just a fragrance that gives you value for money, all of these 10 do that in my opinion. Let me know your favourite cheap fragrance and I'll see you soon.